Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about, well, I guess in a roundabout way, we're going to talk about the creative, the complete dryness of the creative well for Hollywood, because they just greenlit a Slinky movie. And it is exactly what you, well, I wouldn't say it's exactly what you think it is, but it is a movie that is based around the popular toy the Slinky, which is basically just a spring that keeps doing spring things, and you can push it down the stairs and Slinky and all that stuff. And I think a lot of us had one as a kid, but it's one of those things that's like, okay, this reminds me a lot of the news, the news we got last, I think it was either late last year or early this year, that they were making a movie based around the guy that created Flamin' Hot Cheetos. And it was going to be directed by Ava Longoria. This reminds me a lot of that. And apparently they actually tapped the person, Tamra Davis, who directed Half Baked, the Dave Chappelle comedy from the late 90s, early 2000s. So let's dive into this. So basically, what they've said in the press release is that she will be directing this movie. They've listed a bunch of producers and stuff like that, which I'm not going to go into. But basically, they said that this is going to center around Betty James, who is they say is the creator of the Slinky, and she was the co-creator of the Slinky, along with her husband, who remains anonymous in this in the media report. And this is interesting to me, because this is something that, okay, look, I'm not going to say it's not ingenious to create something like a Slinky, because it's very simple, it's very cheap to produce, and it doesn't sell for a lot of money, and it's relatively low priced. And Betty James actually did say a few nice things. Well, I shouldn't say nice things, but a few. She was a proponent for cheaper toys for children, so that poorer children could afford them, which is really the reason why she tried to spearhead the Slinky as much as she did and try to keep it as low priced as she could. Now, over 300 million Slinkies have been sold, and I believe currently they're priced at something around $5 to $6, which is dirt cheap compared to lots and lots of other things. But here's the thing that I find kind of odd, is that they don't mention, like I said, they don't mention anything about her husband. I believe his name was Richard James, Richard T. James, who was a naval engineer and came up with the idea for the Slinky because he saw a spring from some machine fall on the floor, and it bounced a couple of times and flew off. Now, Betty did come up with the name. She looked in the dictionary and came up with the name for it, but they both created it together, and they both made about 400 of them so that they could show them to prospective buyers, and this was in the mid to late 40s. So to leave him completely out of this, in terms of the what I can see from at least the press releases and the articles that I've seen on it, is kind of weird. But I think I understand where Hollywood is going with this, and it is simply to the point where this is a woman. It is a woman director. They're making it a movie where they can push the feminist message. That's all it is. That's all that this has ever been from conception to now. That is what it is. Because I guarantee you what they're going to do. They're going to write out the husband. They're going to make him, even if he does come up with the idea, or they're probably going to make it so that he doesn't even come up with the idea. They'll make it so the wife does. And then they'll also make it so that he's a bad husband or something like that. I would 100% see that happening, especially because both of these people are dead, and they're not there to sue the living shit out of them for slander, although I would assume maybe their children are, because it appears they had a rather large amount of children. So I assume their kids will probably be suing the living crap out of this company if they have the legal right to do so once this film comes out, because it's probably going to be a piece of garbage. And I shouldn't say that, because I can't judge the film because it's not out. I haven't seen it. But at the same time, everything that I'm seeing from this article to what happened in real life is, and I understand that Hollywood has to, they do their usual theatrical bullshit where they have to, play up certain parts of this. But looking at it based on real life to what I know they're probably going to do with how it's being adapted to screen, is not. It's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. And the fact that you even went to the idea of I want to make a movie about the person that invented the Slinky. Now, I'm not going to take away from the fact that they invented a children's toy that I'm sure a lot of kids probably loved. It's appeared in many, many films. Toy Story with, Slink the dog, Ace Ventura, the When Nature Calls, which is the second one, where he does the Slinky thing down the whole thing of stairs, and the Slinky theme song and all that stuff. It's become a part of pop culture. I accept that as a fact. It's like a pet rock kind of. It reminds me a bit of that. But to go to the point where, if this woman had gone on and done other things, if she had done, if she had made more toys that had become more iconic, or if she had done other things, then maybe I would say that this would be warranted as a film. But as of right now, this is like an hour-long documentary. This is like a documentary on, I guess, what the History Channel used to be before it just became, reality television. But this is something that I don't think can fill out an hour and a half to 2 hour movie. I think they're going to pad the living shit out of it. I think that most of it isn't going to even be about her inventing the Slinky. Most of it's going to be about probably marital problems or something like that, which I'm guessing probably did not exist, and they're just going to make up for the film in order to pad time. And I don't think that this is something that deserves a film being made of it. Again, this woman did not change anybody's life, at least as far as I'm aware of. I'm pretty sure the Slinky has not changed a lot, other than her life, because obviously her and her husband and her kids probably got rich because of it, even though it was produced at a very low cost. Slinkies are fun little toys for kids. They're not something that you need to base what I would assume would be a biopic about, because it's really not about the Slinky, it's about Betty James. So, again, this person may have had a relatively interesting life outside of inventing the Slinky. Maybe they'll put that on screen. I don't necessarily know. I know that her Wikipedia page is not extremely interesting outside of creating the Slinky. It's just basically she was born, she went to school, she created the Slinky, she died. That's basically the equivalency of what you see on the Wikipedia page. But like I said, this reminds me in the same vein of the Flamin' Hot Cheetos movie. It's like you want to do it to push a message. You don't want to do it to actually make a good movie. And that is where we come now, because now we're to a point where Hollywood has become creatively bankrupt. It's not denied. I mean, I know I'm beating a dead horse with this, but Hollywood has become creatively bankrupt. They are not creating very many new ideas. They are mainly borrowing ideas from other mediums, or just pushing out endless sequels, or endless ripoffs, or endless, reboots, remakes, whatever you want to call it, or films like this that are just these niche films that probably would not get made unless, they were literally out of ideas. And, we also have this whole craze now, too, with movies that are being made that are about the making of other movies. There's a movie in production right now that's supposed to be about the making of The Godfather. There's another one that just released a trailer today that's in production about the making of Citizen Kane. I'm sorry, but when you've come to the point where you are making an actual theatrical film with fucking actors about a movie that's already been made, you do not need to make that film. It does not need to be there. It's not. It baffles me, because I know for a fact that these studios have warehouses that are full of fucking spec scripts. You're telling me that you can't send an intern, an army of interns, because they probably have a million of them. Send all of your interns in there and have them read through scripts and say, if you find something that you think might actually make money, bring it to us. Or something that you think that is original, bring it to us. Because maybe we'll be able to do something with it. But as of right now, you're going to get more shit like the Slinky movie, or the Flamin' Hot Cheetos movie, or the making of Citizen Kane, or the making of The Godfather, which, by the way, both of those have already been covered in documentaries, I'm fairly sure. Or at least in memoirs or anything like that. I'm sure the information has been covered factually in some sense, as opposed to a dramatization. But you'll probably see more of it on bigger movies. The making, a movie about the making of 2001: A Space Odyssey. The making of I don't know, something like Jurassic Park, the making of Star Wars. I mean, you're going to see movies like that pop up. And that's, again, why would you waste money on that when you know you could try and do something original? And I understand the business sense of it, that you want to go with something safe, but people are fucking tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm sure a lot of other people are tired of it. If you're not going to make something interesting, I'm not going to fucking pay attention to you. That's just how this works. It's not something that I don't think a majority of people want to see. It isn't even Oscar bait. You think Slinky is going to be Oscar bait? You think that's going to be a movie that's going to be up on the screen along with a Tarantino film or a Scorsese film, which, by the way, Scorsese, I guess, is filming a film over this winter, so that you might see that in the Oscars in 2022. But, you know, a Scorsese movie, a Tarantino movie, maybe a Chris Nolan movie, and then you see Slinky. It's like, okay, why is this here? You know, that should be your question when you see, if you ever see that nominated for something. And like I said, I have a problem with the movie based solely on the premise. If they are to, if you actually got good creative people behind this and made like a really, really good movie, I could maybe get behind it to an extent, but as it stands right now, there's nothing interesting to talk about here other than the fact the woman made the Slinky. This is like a 30-minute to 1 hour special on the History Channel. That's all it is. And it's kind of ridiculous to try and stretch it into a 2-hour movie. I just don't think you have the material in order to do it. But, you know, I've gone on a little bit of a rant here, but, you know, those are just my opinions about this. But I want to know what your opinions are. Do you want to see a Slinky movie? Do you think this is as dumb as I do? Do you think there's enough information here to actually stretch into a 2-hour film? Do you find it odd that they're leaving out the fact that her husband was also the co-creator of this product? You know, put your thoughts in the comments below. As usual, I like to read them. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?